Greetings, RC Model Geeks, and here we are in the shed yet again for part 25 of the DB Sport and Scale Sopwith Pup electric build. Bixler Phil's been over this morning with his paintbrush, and he's splattered paint all over the wing for me, which is good. So this is the final wing panel. I've also filled out the aileron here, and that's almost ready to cut out, apart from I just got to put a couple of strengtheners down here. So that's all good. So I'm letting that wing panel dry off for the rest of the day, so we can move that away. And the next thing we need to work on is the elevator halves, and here they are. So what we've got to do to these is we've got to sand them to a taper. Yes, which is going to be fun. So they want to be a tapered profile rather than just rounded. So that is the next thing to do. So I'm going to crack open a new piece of sandpaper and put it onto my trusty sanding block, and start sanding some tapers onto those. It's going to take a while as well. I have got the disc sander, but it's too aggressive for doing this really. So yes, I'll come back to you when I've done a bit of that sanding. Yes, I hate sanding. Anyway, back soon. Okay, here's a little trick for you. Yeah, I've got to sand a taper onto this tailplane, and it's bloody difficult to hold, and even more difficult to get the angle when you're holding it. So what I've done is I put 2 strips of double-sided tape here and here onto the elevator half, and all I'm going to do is just stick that down the bench like that, and it won't move. Then I can use my sanding block and I can hold it at a slight angle and start to go backwards and forwards, and then you'll get a beautiful taper on your elevator. When you're done, just peel it off the desk. Easy. Back with you soon when I've done it. Okay, there is the elevator half after sanding. What I also do is I drew 2 lines on the trailing edge, so I know where I've basically got to sand to. In other words, how much depth I've got to take out of the whole thing. And if we put this one up to it, I think you'll see there's quite a big difference there in the step size. So, you know, that's going to be good enough. It's got a taper on it. We don't want to go too thin because it's going to make it too weak otherwise. So yeah, I'm going to whip this off the bench, just curve that trailing edge a little bit, and we're done. Okay, there is the difference between the 2 elevator halves. If we hold this at an angle, you can probably see that it is nicely tapered. Whereas if we look at this one, you'll see it's nice and flat. And that took 5 minutes. Nothing to fear at all. It's, you know, another easy thing to do if you do it the right way. Okay, back with you when I've done the other one. Back soon. Okay, just had a thought. Let's talk about sandpaper and a sanding block. Here's my trusty sanding block. It's been around the block, but that's my main weapon of choice when it comes to sanding. Yeah, I've got the disc sander, but you know, you can't do everything with a disc sander. Yeah, and I've tried lots of different sandpapers, and you know, it's certainly a false economy to buy cheap sandpaper, as in your Lidls and your Aldis and stuff like that. I had so much trouble with cheap sandpaper. I mean, it's almost that the wood is more abrasive than the sandpaper, and the sand comes off the sandpaper quicker than the wood comes off the wood. But this stuff that I've been using recently is brilliant. This is the third bit I've put onto my sanding block since I started the Pup, and it's brilliant. The sandpaper doesn't rip, and it doesn't really wear down. It just sort of slowly clogs over time. So if you're in the UK, see if you can find this stuff. Okay, and there's a company name down there somewhere. Where is it? Yeah. Oh, 02392 must be down in Portsmouth. But yeah, I mean, this stuff is bloody good, I have to say. It's an ideal size for a sanding block. You fit exactly 2 sheets on one sanding block, so you can cut that out, cut it down the middle, and that gives you 2 sheets. I always use 120 grit. There you go, 120. And you know, it's rough enough to take the wood off, but you know, it gives you a really nice finish, and you don't need any more or any less than that to cover it, really. So there you go. Don't use cheap sandpaper. It's a false economy. Back soon. Right, that is the elevators all finished. I've put a couple of holes in there for the torque rod that goes between them. I've also added an extra bit of wood here and here, because they were relying on the torque rod just gluing against the side of that bit of wood there, and that's not enough. So I've just added a little doubler in there and in there. I've also just added a bit of wood here because that's where the horn is going to move the elevator. And that is it for the day, I'm afraid, boys and girls. I've got to go and take my mother to the doctor's, and after that I'm going to be editing this video. So I'll see you all tomorrow for part 26, is it? Like, comment and subscribe. Don't forget, hit that like button. If you want to email us, there's the email. And I'll see you all hopefully tomorrow. Bye.